for right here, you can't get there with that same level of thinking, can you? Or the same fears. So it's kind of like if we go back to the money example, you know, it's asking you the question, or even asking your patients the questions about health, you know, do you want to be healthy or just not sick? Do you want to be wealthy or just not poor? It's a big difference in the way that you say those words or communicate that. So what I want to share with you tonight, because I know that to help you tap more into the passion and the intensity and who you are and why you're here and learning to express that in everything you do, if we can help you come up with a few simple hows of moving from this little mousetrap that you've built now to what you want to go back into on Monday, those little simple action steps are going to help save your sanity, aren't they? They're going to give you more confidence and certainty to go back, to walk back in and be clearer with patients. So there's 3 words, if you're writing or that I want you to think about later, and it's basically the 3 stages of the law of attraction, or shifting your vibration. The first word is believing, beginning and believing. The second word is becoming. And the third word, or third stage, is allowing. So what needs to happen in the beginning when I'm saying this, you know, starting place, is you have to recognize this chasm exists. And it's this chasm. It's right here. Or I love, Dr. Randy, your other, you know, description with your arrows here. You know, are you going up? Are you going across, or are you going down? And most of us do multiples of these every day or on every single issue. So you might be really rising or growing in a certain area of your life, but somewhere else you're really stagnant, or you're coming down here. And so wherever you are, I heard you say this multiple times, Dr. Randy, it's not a judgment, it's just identifying, where am I? So with any aspect, it might again be your confrontational skill with the patient. You know, where are you now? And then how do we start to begin to shift you? So using the idea of beginning, you know, believing that you can begin to make this change. You can create those thoughts. You can create affirmations that say, I'm beginning to change the way I approach patients. I'm beginning to identify new financial strategies. You know, it might be with Miles and the cash practice. You know, I'm beginning to shift my own thinking. It can be as simple as that. You know, and Tony Robbins obviously has been the master of this, you know, bringing affirmations to the world. Lots of people talk about affirmations, but a lot of people will have you stand there and read a whole list of affirmations, or, you know, say your affirmations with your team. And for different people, these different strategies can be effective. But what happens is all too often we start to say these affirmations and we're not even in the right state. We don't even begin in the right state. So often I use the example of my middle son, who is much older now, but years ago when he was in the 2nd grade, we moved from Canada to Iowa. And within the first month, the teacher's calling me saying, this kid can't read. Well, this kid could read brilliantly before our move. You know, and it's not that he didn't love to read or didn't love books, but obviously there's some real emotional things going on. And it so happened that as we dug into the story a little bit, you know, she asked him to stand up and read in front of the class. He's new, you know, funny, you know, accent because of being Canadian. And so obviously he got laughed at. Well, do you think the child is ever going to want to stand up and read again? So he's a little kid. I give you this example because he's his brain and neurology is more plastic than, say, we are at our ages. But he literally can't read. And so I said to him, well, you know what? We're going to change our thinking. We're going to begin to think differently about how we read. And so I had him start, and I said with him an affirmation, kind of morning, after school, and evening, where I said, okay, we're going to talk about how we're a great reader. And so you can imagine a 2nd grader, you know, the slumped shoulders and I am a great reader. And of course, he's not really embracing that vibration, is he? But I share this because it was a start. It was a beginning, wasn't it? So the first stage of the law of attraction is you have to begin. You have to begin to say something differently or train yourself differently. So, I'm saying it with them and I'm trying to get excited about it. And, so he starts that first couple of days like he is hating every moment of it. But of course, I'm just going through it with him. And then after a few days, he's kind of going, okay, I know I'm a great reader. Let's get through this. Let's move beyond this. Mom, how long do we have to do this? But within that first week or two, he's now humoring me, but at least he's saying something different to himself, isn't he? And he's only doing it 3 times a day. One simple statement 3 times a day. After 2 weeks, I get a phone call from the teacher that says, wow, I don't know what you've been doing, who's been tutoring him, and what psychologist you've taken him to, but I can tell you that Jackson's reading at school. 2 weeks. So I give you a little kid example and a one statement that was said 3 times a day, which is the beginning place, isn't it? So think about for yourself any of these issues we're talking about, money, philosophy, again, your technique. It might be that you're still pretty new in practice and might not have a lot of certainty around your technique. So imagine if you could stand there and say to yourself, I'm beginning to become a great adjuster. I'm beginning to understand and feel the difference in what I do. If you can already start there, guess what? You're now, maybe not over there, but guess what? You're probably over here already, aren't you? So it's simple. And what I loved about what Dr. Leah was talking about is you can take an affirmation and you can basically make it your mantra or like an incantation. What you did, Dr. Leah, is you created that as an incantation because you're saying it over and over and over again. You can take a simple statement and you can run on the treadmill and say that to yourself. I am a masterful chiropractor. I don't get the privilege to adjust anymore. But you know what? Did I start there? Not on your life.